This is real people cooking real food in a real kitchen, for real. What's going on today is I am going to make a roast beef in the Weber grill outside. Wow, I really like cooking meat like this, and I like cooking on the Weber. I am going to show you how to cook using what Weber calls the indirect cooking method. There's basically two cooking methods you can use when you're cooking on a charcoal grill, and one of them is the direct method, which is what you're probably used to when you make hamburgers, for example. You have a bed of coals, you lay the hamburgers directly over the coals, you cook one side of the hamburger, you flip the hamburger over, you cook the other side of the hamburger. Now the indirect method doesn't work quite that way. The indirect method is, and I'll show this to you later on in the video, you actually have two piles of coals separated, and in between the coals you have a drip pan. And it's cooking this way is more or less like cooking in the oven. What you do is you put your meat over the drip pan, and you put the lid on the Weber, and you never ever turn your meat over, just like you don't turn your meat over when you put it in the oven. Now, if it takes long enough and you use enough coals, and basically your coals are starting to go out because they have been burning a long time, you may have to add more coals to keep your fire going, but you never ever touch the meat until it is ready to come out off of the Weber grill. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'll show you step by step completely how to do this process, so it won't be a mystery to you, and it's not even hard to do. I'm going to use an aluminum pan for my drip pan, and as you can see, this aluminum pan has had a lot of wear and tear. I bet I've used it 50, 60 times or more, and I can probably use it another 50 or 60 times. And the reason that I'm able to get so much use out of just one aluminum pan is because I'm going to line it with aluminum foil. The idea for the drip pan is to keep the meat from getting heat directly on it, and it also catches the drippings from the meat, and those drippings collect in the pan and they don't go into the bottom of the grill, so you don't have a big greasy mess on the bottom of the grill because your drip pan is going to collect all of the grease. Now all there is to lining the pan is I get a couple of pieces of tin foil, 2 pieces of tin foil, same length, approximately the same length. And what I do is basically I fold them together. Right now they're back to back, and I'm just going to make about a 1-inch crease. And you don't have to be real careful about this. After I make one 1-inch crease, I'm going to crease it again. So now I've made 2 creases. I'm going to unfold it, and I'm going to press those creases down, hopefully lock that in. And I'm going to take my pan, and I want to center this aluminum foil over the pan, and I'll just start roughly molding this foil into the pan. There's one side. Here's the other side. And I'll just loosely crumple that foil back up against the sides of the pan. I don't need to make it too tight or anything. Basically, that's my finished product. This aluminum foil lined drip pan is now ready for me to use in the bottom of my Weber, and by doing this, when the cooking is done and I go to clean out my grill later, after the grill's cooled off, all I have to do is basically unfold this aluminum, and all of the mess that dripped into this, I'll have it contained in this aluminum foil, throw it away in this aluminum drip pan. I'll be able to use it again. It's, like I said, probably another 30, 40, 50 times, no problem. Before I even start my grill, I'm going to season this roast, and I'm just going to sprinkle some of this Greek seasoning. Get it at the big box discount retail store over like in the seasoning aisle, baking goods aisle. And I'm going to generously, or if you will, liberally, sprinkle that on that side, followed with seasoning salt, which you get in the same store, same location. I'm going to rub that in. Rub it in. I haven't even started my grill yet. As soon as I get done doing this, I'm going to start my grill. Again, I'm going to go with the Greek seasoning. And the seasoned salt. And rub it in. You can see there's a fat side. Put the fat side down. That's how it's going to cook. And finally, on the top, put more Greek seasoning. More seasoned salt. Rub it in. I'll put that back in the refrigerator while I'm starting the coals and waiting for the grill to get ready. And it's probably going to sit for around a half an hour, 45 minutes, and it'll give time for that seasoning to kind of soak in to the meat a little. Okay, it's a little windy out here today, so I apologize for the wind in the microphone. Here's my Weber. So the first thing we're going to do is take off the lid, take off the food grate. I'm going to set them to the side because I don't want the wind to blow my lid around and to deform my lid. It's important that the lid is able to make a tight fit around the top of the Weber. So I'm going to set it on the ground over here on the side. Now this is my chimney starter, and there's some coals in the chimney starter, charcoal, and those charcoals are actually from the last time I cooked food. What I'm going to do is top that off with some new coals. Now these are Kingsford hickory coals. I usually use Weber Blue, Kingsford Blue, the charcoals that you're used to seeing that comes in the blue bag down here, and that's what I usually use. But I got these given to me, so I'm using them because they're free. Now to make one of these chimney starters work, you just use some newspaper. A little windy out here. crumple up, wad some newspaper up in a ball. With it being so windy, it's going to be a little hard for me to start this newspaper. But once the newspaper started, this is actually going to start real easy today on a windy day. It's just the initial flame getting going. Okay, I got the newspaper going. There's a spot in the bottom of that grill, I mean the bottom of the starter, that accommodates the newspaper. And being nice and windy today, if you need to get your flame going, you just lift that up a little bit, and that oxygen will help start the flame, keep the flame going. Now, my experience, I'm going to have to load the bottom of that 2 to 3 times to get the coals going. You don't use any lighter fluid starter with this at all. That lighter fluid starter makes your food taste like gasoline. I don't care how many commercials you've seen or heard that says, oh, this is tasteless, you can't taste this. That is nothing but crap. That makes your food taste like gasoline. You can smell it a mile away. It's awful. All you need to start your fire with is some newspaper. Put your charcoals in a chimney starter, and coals in the top, newspaper in the bottom. Get our next piece of newspaper going there. Probably one of the reasons that I like charcoal over propane is I'm just a bit of a pyromaniac, yes, pyromaniac. I like starting my fires. I like cooking over a fire that I started over charcoal. I just like it. Not to mention the fact that I like the flavor of charcoal as well. Tastes good. Makes the food taste good. I'm going to put in a third sheet of newspaper there. And since I just have this half sheet left, I'm going to use it as well. Now you can see the smoke coming out of the top of the chimney, which is probably one of the reasons why they call it a chimney. And as long as that smoke's coming out of the top of the chimney, you know your fire's starting. So I'm going to put that last piece in there. Put that last piece in there, and it'll take this, with a windy day like today, it'll take this fire starter probably 10 minutes to get going good. Now, if you're inexperienced, you may want to be tempted to wait for your charcoals to be all white ash all the way to the top, but really that's unnecessary. Once your charcoals get white ash hot to about the middle of your fire starter, it's okay to dump those coals out, and the fire will spread. Not only am I going to dump the coals out, but I'm going to add more coals to it, because we're going to end up with 2 layers of coals, 2 sides of coals, one side of coals over here, one side of coals over here, and a drip pan in the middle. But you'll see that a little bit later. Okay, these coals have been getting hot for about the last 10 to 15 minutes now. As you probably can see, it's windy out and there's smoke coming off of the top of the coals, and that's how you can tell the fire is still going. And I can feel heat. So What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn these coals over and take them out of this fire starter. I don't want the fire starter getting too hot, because what will happen is it'll prematurely burn this fire starter up. Once the coals are started, you no longer have a need for the fire starter. Now those are going quite nicely as it is. There aren't enough coals there to cook with, so I'm going to add some more coals. I use a spatula as a grill tool. And all I'm doing now is piling the coals up so they're all touching each other. So they'll get started. Another thing I want to do is put this cooking grate over the top of the coals. And the reason I'm doing that now is because I want to get this cooking grate really hot, and I'm going to scrape it. I'm going to brush it off before I put my meat on there. And also, after I get done cleaning my cooking grate and letting these coals get started, I'm going to make the coals go into two piles. One pile over here, the other pile over here, and my drip pan in the middle. And that's all happening down on the first fire grate. This food grate won't have the pan in it. The drip pan will be down below on the fire grate. So we'll be back in a few minutes after these coals get going a little better. My dog ate my grill brush, so I'm going to use a piece of lightly crumbled up tin foil to clean the top of the grill with. You can see the coals are started now, and they're quite white hot. So I can't stay over this grill too long with this tin foil, otherwise I'll get burned. It'll probably singe some of my hair off, but I don't care, I'm used to it. That's all I do to clean the top of my grill off. And again, I use my spatula for a grill tool. What I'm doing now is I'm getting ready to put this drip pan in the bottom of the grill. And so I'm going to need to make space for it. It's super windy out here, so this is kind of hard to do today. Those coals are hot. One of the coals fell in the bottom of the pan. One coal isn't going to hurt anything, so I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to worry about it. But I like this grate because it allows you to open up either side and manipulate your coals a little bit. And later on, I might even be actually adding more coals to this if my fire starts to get a little bit low. In the meantime, I'm going to recover this. The vents in the top of the lid are completely open, and there's also vents on the bottom that are also completely open. We want this completely open. And in a minute I'm going to go get the meat and come back out here and put the meat on. Okay, this meat has been sitting in the refrigerator with the dry rub on it while I've been getting the coals ready to cook, and I'm saying it's about half hour, 35 minutes or so. It's been marinating in its own dry rub there. And this fire is ready to go. So all I got to do is put that meat right there in the middle, right over top of the drip pan in the bottom of the Weber there, cover it, and I'm going to cook this for about an hour before I come and check on it. I know it won't be done before an hour's over. Okay, here's the finished meat. I had a little bit of a snafu, and I let the meat go just a little bit longer than I normally like to. I checked it with the meat thermometer, and the internal temperature was reading 160 degrees. Now, as I was saying earlier in the video, I like my roast on the Weber to have an internal temperature of 110 degrees. So while this is well done on anybody's chart, it's still going to be tender. It's still going to be quite moist. It's not dried out, and it's done. So I wanted to show you what it looked like done, and this is it.